You've been driving a car for 15 years, and it's the most dangerous thing about your riding. Here's what happens. You're cruising through traffic, everything's fine, then a car swerves into your lane. Your brain doesn't have time to think, it just reacts. And that reaction is pulling from 15 years of car driving. You brake like you're in a cage, you position yourself like you have 4 wheels, you trust a green light like you've got 2 tons of steel protecting you. That's the moment riders die. The problem is your brain defaults to car mode under stress. All that muscle memory you built sitting in traffic, commuting to work, running errands, it's hardwired into your nervous system. And on a motorcycle, car logic is a death sentence. The morgue is full of people who had the right of way. They followed the rules, they trusted the system, they rode like car drivers, and now they're statistics. Car drivers sit in the center of the lane because it is safe and predictable. You stay in the middle, you are visible in mirrors, you are not hugging the shoulder or riding the line. It makes perfect sense in a car. On a bike, the center of the lane is where you go to die. That is where the oil slicks live. Every car that has ever leaked a drop of oil, transmission fluid, or coolant leaves it right there in the center of the lane. Add in the paint stripes at intersections, the metal plates covering utility access, the tar snakes from road repairs, all of it lives in the center third of your lane. Your car never taught you to worry about surface hazards because you have 4 contact patches and 1,000 pounds of suspension soaking up the bumps. On a bike, you have 2 tiny contact patches and 0 margin for error. Hit an oil slick mid-turn and you are down before your brain registers what happened. Then there is the blind spot. When you sit in the center of the lane, you are positioning yourself in the exact spot where merging traffic cannot see you. You are too far forward to show up in their side mirror, too far back to be in their peripheral vision. You are invisible. And the worst part? You are sitting there like a good little car driver following the rules, staying predictable. Predictable gets you killed. Here is what you need to do. Break your lane into thirds, left third, center third, right third. Each position has a purpose. Left third puts you in the driver's side mirror of the car ahead. You are visible. You are also creating a buffer from oncoming traffic and giving yourself an escape route to the shoulder if someone merges into you. Right third gives you maximum visibility to cars at intersections. You are in their line of sight. You are also positioned to escape into the gap between lanes if traffic ahead slams on the brakes. Center third, you use for about 5 seconds when you are passing through an intersection or avoiding a surface hazard in the other thirds. That is it. The real kicker is you should never stay in one spot for more than 30 seconds. Car drivers park themselves in one position and cruise. That is passive driving. On a bike, passive riding is how you become a hood ornament. You need to be constantly adjusting your lane position based on what is happening around you. Car merging from the right, slide to the left third. Intersection coming up, move to the right third so turning traffic can see you. Oil slick in your path, shift to avoid it before you are on top of it. Car drivers never think about any of this because they do not have to. 4 contact patches, a steel cage, and airbags mean they can ignore the road surface and trust their lane position. You do not have that luxury. But lane position is just the setup for the real killer. Car drivers treat green lights as a shield. You see green, you go. That is the rule. That is what you have done 10,000 times sitting in your Toyota. Green means safe. Green means it is your turn. Green means the other guy has to stop. For bikers, green is an invitation to get T-boned. Here is the physics of why you are invisible. A car doing 45 miles per hour covers about 66 feet per second. A motorcycle doing 45 miles per hour covers the same distance, but we look like we are going slower. The human brain judges speed based on size. A big object approaching fast triggers the don't turn response. A small object approaching at the same speed, the brain miscalculates. It thinks you are farther away, moving slower, and there is plenty of time to turn. That is why the left turn gap exists. The gap where a driver looks right at you, calculates they have time, and pulls out anyway. They are not trying to kill you. Their brain just lied to them about your speed and distance. You know what makes it worse? You are riding with car brain. You see the green light. You see the opposing car slowing down. You assume they see you. You assume they will stop. You roll through that intersection at full speed because that is what the green light means in a car. Then you are airborne. Car drivers never develop the staggered stop technique because they do not need it. In a car, you roll up to a red light, you stop, the light turns green, you go. Simple, safe, predictable. On a bike, you need to stagger your approach. You cover the brake 100 feet before the intersection. You are scanning the opposing lanes for cars that might turn. You are reading body language. Is that car creeping forward? Are the wheels turned? Is the driver looking at their phone? You are treating every single green light like it is a maybe. Pause and scan. You do not blast through on green. You cover the brake. You scan opposing lanes. You scan cross traffic. You assume every car is going to turn, run the red, or pull out in front of you. You make them prove it is safe before you commit. The worst part is your car brain screaming at you the entire time. It yells, "It is green, go, you have the right of way, why are you slowing down?" That voice has been reinforced by thousands of hours behind the wheel. It is automatic, it is confident, and it is going to get you killed. The last thing witnesses hear you say is, "I had the green light," right before the ambulance shows up, right before the police report gets filed, right before your bike gets totaled and your family gets a call. Actuaries know this. Intersection crashes are the #1 killer of experienced riders. Not new riders who do not know what they are doing. Experienced riders who know the rules, who follow the traffic laws, who trust the system. The system does not protect motorcycles. The system protects cars. And when you ride with car logic, you are trusting a system that was never designed for you. Speaking of things car drivers take for granted. Car drivers stomp the brake pedal. Bikers who stomp die. Here is why that muscle memory is fatal. In a car, you have 4 contact patches, each about the size of your hand, all gripping the road at the same time. You have an anti-lock braking system, or ABS, that pulses the brakes faster than you can blink. You have weight distribution that keeps the rear end planted when you slam the pedal. You can stomp that brake at 60 miles per hour and the car just stops. No drama, no thinking required. A motorcycle requires you to load the front end before you can apply maximum braking force. That is not how your car brain works. Your car brain says brake equals stop. Hard brake equals hard stop. Harder brake equals harder stop. It is linear. It is simple. It has been drilled into you by thousands of panic stops in traffic. On a bike, that logic flips you over the handlebars, or it locks the front wheel and puts you on the pavement. Here is the technique car drivers never learn. The front end set. You start with a progressive squeeze, not a grab, not a stomp, a squeeze. That initial pressure compresses the front suspension and transfers weight forward. Now the front tire is loaded, now it has grip. Now you can apply full braking force without losing traction. The entire process takes maybe half a second. That half second is the difference between a controlled stop and a crash. Your car never taught you this because weight transfer happens automatically. The car suspension does the work. You just push the pedal and physics handles the rest. On a bike, you are the suspension management system. You are manually loading the front end. You are controlling the weight transfer. You are the reason the bike stops or the reason it crashes. Then there is the panic slam scenario. You are cruising along, a car pulls out, your brain screams, and your hand grabs a fistful of front brake because that is what 15 years of car driving taught you to do in an emergency. Two things can happen. Either the front wheel locks up and you low side immediately, or the suspension compresses so fast the rear wheel comes off the ground and you flip over the bars. Both options end with you on the pavement. Both options are caused by car muscle memory taking over when your brain shuts down. Now let's talk about ABS. You think it's a guardian angel. It is not. It is a safety net with holes in it. ABS prevents wheel lockup. That's it. It does not shorten your stopping distance. It does not manage weight transfer for you. It does not compensate for grabbing the brake like an idiot. All it does is pulse the brake pressure so the wheel does not lock. You still need to know the technique. You still need to load the front end. You still need to apply progressive pressure. If you are relying on ABS to save you, you are a passenger, not a pilot. Here is the brutal truth. If you are not practicing emergency stops at least once a month, you do not have the skill when it matters. You have theory, you have good intentions, you have a vague memory of what you are supposed to do. But when that car pulls out and your brain goes into panic mode, muscle memory takes over. And your muscle memory is from a car. The math does not lie. A car can stop from 60 miles per hour in about 120 feet if the driver knows what they are doing. A motorcycle needs 180 feet or more if you do not know the technique. That extra 60 feet is the gap between a close call and a funeral. The common mistake is riders who never cover the brake because car drivers do not need to. In a car, your foot is always near the brake pedal. On a bike, your fingers should always be covering the front brake lever. Always. Not when you think you might need it, not when traffic looks sketchy. Always. Because the moment you need it, you will not have time to move your hand. Then there is the whole mess of sensory awareness. The cage dulls your senses. Car drivers develop tunnel vision because the cage protects them from consequences. You can zone out in a car. You can think about work, plan your weekend, replay an argument in your head. The car keeps you safe. The suspension filters out the road feedback. The frame blocks the wind. The seat cradles you in climate-controlled comfort. Your brain learns it does not need to pay full attention because nothing bad happens when you drift off mentally. On a bike, tunnel vision means you miss the gravel patch, the pedestrian stepping into the crosswalk, the car door opening into your lane. You miss it for half a second and you are down. The problem is your car brain trained you to narrow your focus. Watch the car ahead, check your mirrors every few seconds, scan for brake lights. That is enough in a cage. That is how you commute for years without incident. On a bike, that narrow focus is a blind spot you are riding into at 60 miles per hour. You need peripheral scanning. That is the constant head check rhythm car drivers never develop. You are not just watching the car ahead. You are scanning the shoulder for debris. You are checking the crosswalk for pedestrians who have not stepped out yet. You are reading the body language of parked cars to see if a door is about to open. You are watching the car 3 vehicles ahead because when they brake, everyone behind them brakes, and you need that extra second to react. Car drivers can afford to wait and see what happens. Bikers who wait become statistics. Here is what makes it worse. Your brain is wired to relax in commute mode from years of car driving. The route is familiar. The speed is comfortable. The traffic is predictable. Your nervous system interprets this as safe. It downshifts into autopilot. That is when you stop scanning. That is when you miss the invisible threat. The invisible threat drill is simple. You are actively scanning for things that have not happened yet. Not the car that is already merging, but the car that might merge. Not the pedestrian in the crosswalk, but the pedestrian on the sidewalk who is looking at their phone and drifting toward the curb. Not the pothole you can see, but the shadow on the road that might be a pothole. You are predicting problems before they exist. Here is the sensory difference car drivers never experience. Cars filter road feedback through suspension, steering dampers, and sound insulation. You feel a bump, but it is muted. You hear the engine, but it is background noise. The car translates the road into something comfortable and manageable. A bike transmits everything. You feel the road surface through the bars, the pegs, the seat. You feel the wind pushing you in crosswinds. You feel the engine vibration telling you what gear you are in and how hard you are working the motor. Every input is direct. Every sensation is information. Car drivers ignore engine sound because it does not matter. The car shifts automatically. The traction control manages wheel slip. The stability control keeps you pointed straight. You can drive for years without ever thinking about what the engine is telling you. Bikers use sound to predict traffic behavior. You hear the car next to you downshift and you know they are about to accelerate. You hear your own engine lugging and you know you are in the wrong gear for the corner. You hear the exhaust note change and you know something in the drivetrain just shifted. The worst part is your brain wants to relax. It wants to go back to commute mode. It wants the comfort of the cage where you could tune out and let the car handle the details. Every time you ride, you are fighting against years of conditioning that says it is safe to zone out in traffic. Here is how you wake up your peripheral vision. The 12-second scan pattern. Every 12 seconds you are doing a complete environmental check. Mirrors, blind spots, road surface ahead, cross traffic, escape routes, threats that do not exist yet. Car drivers check mirrors every 30 seconds and call it defensive driving. That's how long you have before something kills you on a bike. The final reprogramming. Ride like every single car is actively trying to hit you. That's not paranoia. That's tactical pessimism that keeps you alive. The invisible man drill is simple. Assume no one sees you, not the car merging, not the truck changing lanes, not the SUV turning left at the intersection. Nobody. Plan your escape route before you need it. Create space before it collapses. Position yourself in the gap, not next to the threat. Defensive riding is car logic. That is what car drivers mean when they follow at a safe distance and check their mirrors. That works in a cage because even if someone hits you, you are probably walking away. Bikers need offensive positioning. You are not reacting to threats. You are eliminating them before they develop. You are managing space, not following distance. Here is the difference. A car driver maintains 3 seconds behind the vehicle ahead. That is following distance. That is reactive. That is waiting to see what happens and then responding. A biker maintains an escape bubble. You are never riding next to a car. You are always in a gap with 2 exit routes. Car to your left, position behind or ahead with space to swerve right. Car ahead slowing down, you are already scanning the gap between lanes to split through if they panic brake. Truck merging from the right, you have already moved left and created a buffer before they finish the lane change. You are 3 moves ahead because you have to be. The brutal reality is you can do everything right and still get hit. You can scan perfectly, position flawlessly, predict every threat, and some distracted driver can still drift into your lane and end your season. That is the risk you accept when you throw a leg over a bike. But car habits guarantee it. Car habits put you in the center of the lane where the oil lives. Car habits make you trust green lights. Car habits make you grab the brake like you are in a cage. Car habits let you zone out because the commute is familiar. Safety is not a law, it is a tactic you execute every second you are on the road. It is not something you follow, it is something you do, actively, constantly, without thinking about it because the muscle memory has been retrained. The truth is, your biggest enemy is not other drivers. It is the car driver still living in your head. That voice that says it is safe to relax, that muscle memory that reaches for the brake like a panic button, that brain that defaults to car mode when the stress hits, that is what is trying to kill you. Which of these car habits have you caught yourself doing? The center lane cruise, the green light trust, The panic grab? Drop a comment and let me know which one you are fixing first. Hit subscribe so we can build a safer riding community together. Because the truth is, we are all fighting the same battle, unlearning years of car logic that is trying to kill us every time we ride.